Hello and welcome to From Field to Skin, a series of interviews chronicling Ash Dahlberg's adventures in the Canadian Fibershed. Our 13th episode features Maddie from Custom Woolen Mills and was recorded in July 2019 on Treaty 7 territory. You can find Custom Woolen Mills online at customwoolenmills.com or on Instagram at customwoolenmills. For more, follow at From Field to Skin on Instagram or visit fromfieldtoskin.com. Hi. I'm here with Maddie, and we are at Custom Woolen Mills. And why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Okay. So Custom Woolen Mills is here just northeast of Calgary, I guess, in Alberta, and I grew up here. My parents started it in the 70s, and we process wool purchased directly from farmers in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and BC into finished products like hand-working yarns and wool-filled comforters and bedding and machine knit socks.
Cool. And you guys use very old equipment, which makes you different than a lot of the other mills that are starting to pop up, eh?
That's true, yeah. All of our machinery is from the late 1800s and early 1900s. The oldest machine we run is from 1895, and the newest ones are our sock machines, and they're from the 1950s. And so, our equipment is an example of the smaller scale stuff, industrial stuff that would be used on a water wheel or a steam engine.
Super cool. So why don't you tell us a bit about your personal fiber journey?
So I guess my personal fiber journey started very early. Growing up here at the mill, I used to nap in the wash area when I was little, just up on the shelf out of the way. So being in the mill and around wool has always been my experience.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't necessarily realize what a gift that was, or not like what a nice way to grow up that was, until I had moved away and gone to school and lived in Montreal and stuff like that, and just really missed the process of making stuff from its raw state and and working physically. And so I came back here and running the mill with my mom. What's really I really love natural fibers and wool in particular, because it's so easy to process from its raw state, and it fits so it's such an important part of it can be such a great part of an ecosystem with animals grazing the pasture, and they grow wool, and you just can, as soon as it's shorn off the sheep, you can start working with it.
Right, yeah.
So it's not very much input. And then along those lines, natural dyes are really important to us too here, and using more and more natural dyes. I don't think people recognize the impact that synthetic dyes have around the world, largely because here in North America those impacts are put off to somewhere you can't see and onto people that you don't interact with.
Yes.
And so for those reasons we do work with the synthetic dyes, and personally we really want to stop.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lifelong journey, so I don't get sick of it, and I'm excited to do it for many, many years going forward.
Amazing. So what do you think stops people from engaging with their fiber sheds? Like, you grew up literally in the mill, but obviously that's not everybody's experience. So what have you kind of seen has stopped people from engaging?
That's a hard one for me to answer, because I am so much within it that I don't necessarily always see the things that outside of it.
Right, yeah.
But I do think people don't know that it's here.
Right.
And there's a huge disconnect between people's understanding of textiles as an agricultural product.
Yes, yeah.
And in my experience, when people learn about it, they get it and they're really interested in it and they connect to it. And so, yeah, what stops people is just not having access. And so things like you're doing, the more people are made aware of it, and the more places it's a local Fibershed product is available, people get on board with it.
Do you know, this is sort of a side note, but do you know if there are any, like, because Alberta has a massive Fibershed scene, but there's no official, as far as I'm aware, Fibershed organization or like Fiber Trail kind of mini things that get pulled together. But is there something, and I just don't know because I'm not from here, or just everybody knows everybody?
I think that there are smaller groups working on that kind of thing. But Fibershed wasn't something that, I don't think it's something that people have set out to create here because it wasn't missing.
Right, yeah.
And so
really
it's a
point.
term that is used, but I think it already exists pretty strongly here just because there's always been a mill, and that's kind of a missing point from a lot of fiber sheds. Like there's fiber being produced, but you have to ship it a long ways for processing. And so I think there are some people that are interested in starting using that designation in the more official way.
Yeah.
But
it's basically always been in place.
Yeah, and so
at
people haven't really.
Yeah.
It's like using terming something that has already existed. Like sometimes a farm is organic, but doesn't call itself organic.
Right.
It's always done it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. So what's an easy way, either for like just a random person, or like what are easy ways that people can be engaging, like with you guys, for example?
Well, with us specifically, we are open to the public Monday to Friday. You can come by and see the mill in action. We offer guided tours on Friday afternoons, and we have our little store. Cool. So if you're in the area driving through, if it's during the week, you can come and engage directly that way. But more generally, like there are lots of farms and stuff that do have a product at markets, like at farmers markets and stuff, and it's a good, it's a good product, and you can just use it. I think people get really connected to a brand name, or and you don't need to be, so you can just go for what's around and talk to the people making it. You'll learn a lot from them and what their goals are and what they're trying to achieve.
Right. Well, it's sort of like that man that you were talking about, he's Ukrainian, and he makes these beautiful hand-woven blankets with wool from you guys.
Yeah.
And he's like 88 years old and hangs out at the farmer's market every week selling his beautiful blankets.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so if you go to Strathcona Market in Edmonton, for example, there are at least 2, if not a couple more, booths that are wool or fiber-based booths. Yeah. And they are local farmers or local artisans that are using fiber from within this fiber shed to make finished products. So you can, if you're not a knitter, you can get felted garments, you can get a hand-woven blanket.
Right.
So I think people are increasingly aware of the idea of the local food, farm to fork. Yeah. And those opportunities exist for textiles as well. It's that textiles have just been so devalued over the decades that it takes a lot of thinking about it and education about it and choosing to spend a bit more money on something that was locally produced.
Yeah.
And I do believe that in the long run that's better for artisans all over the world. Like it's you support artisans here in Canada, in Alberta. But by starting to revalue textiles, that also means that the artisan community, somewhere else in the world that has mostly been creating products for the North American market or the European market, where because of that global marketing scheme, their area isn't able to enjoy their artistic works either. So I think
exactly.
the local movement is really important for all areas of the world.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because if you understand and value textiles, then if you happen to be somebody who has, the resources to travel and you go somewhere else and you see somebody who's created something with textiles, you're not going to barter them down.
Yeah, don't barter them down.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll have paid like 5 times as much as they would get from the local distributor that's going to wholesale it to a company here in Canada that's then going to mark it up.
Yeah.
But that doesn't even matter. I mean, like, people talk about fair trade a lot. And what does that mean? Like, is fair enough that the person who makes it can buy their groceries, or is fair enough that they can go on vacation across the world, or is fair enough that they can take a year off and then go to university and then take another year off? Like, what is fair? And I think when you work within your local economy, the value put on products is more equitably distributed. And fair has a lot more meaning.
Yes. Yeah, because you've got like an actual kind of resource point for you to be able to be like, fair to me means this, and you're part of my economy locally, so fair is going to be similar even if it's not the exact same.
Can I make this shirt in 3 minutes? No. Can I make this shirt in 2 hours? No. Well, maybe the shirt is worth more than $5.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what does an ideal Fibershed or fiber local economy look like to you?
I think an ideal fiber local economy is one in which the farmers are well supported. The people creating, like, at the steps along the way, so fiber washing or preparing, spinning, carding, dyeing, those people are treated with respect and equally. And then the artisan who makes a product. So ideally, a fiber shed is being sold to its local people as well. And then it's just circular, so a small community. Or, and I guess that's a small community for a mini mill might be, I don't know, 100 miles radius, right? Us, it's a little bit bigger.
Yes, because you have the capacity to do more.
But it's still a lot different than shipping your fiber from one country to the next, to the next, to the next.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what's next for you?
I think more of the same.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep going with learning about and implementing the use of natural dyes. We're more of the same. The big goal is to just promote and promote the continued existence of this local fiber economy, and just step by step.
Cool. As a quick little aside, which I will overlay with our beautiful footage of the mule spinner running, can you quickly explain what Mule spun yarn is and the difference between the way that you guys spin yarn versus the way that now a lot of the mini mill equipment is that people might be a little bit more familiar with?
Sure. So Mule spun yarn is yarn that has been spun on what's called a spinning mule. And it's the third generation of the technology that kick-started the Industrial Revolution, which was the invention of the spinning jenny.
Okay.
And with that technology, basically, instead of having one bobbin that you spin on a spinning wheel by hand, try to put the bobbins upright, and you could have them linked in series. You could spin several bobbins at a time, but it still mimics hand spinning in that it draws the fiber out, and spins it, and then relaxes it and winds it on the bobbin. So the yarn has a lot of stretching and relaxing, which creates a lot of loft and a really springy yarn. A spinning frame, which is some more modern spinning technology, is upright, and the yarn is spun under constant tension the whole time, so it tends to be more uniform, not have that same stretch and give the same elasticity.
Cool. And as a final little note, when as we'll see in the footage, there's how many bobbins are actually on that frame?
192.
Yeah, so you don't have the ability to get like a $10,000 splicer for every single, 5 feet or whatever, air splicer for every single time something breaks. So when the yarn breaks when you're spinning it, you guys stop the machines and have to go and hand, or do you do it, when do you?
So when do you get, Mule spun yarn has knots in it.
Yeah.
And primarily those knots are coming when you get to the top of the bobbin.
Yes.
You tie on to the next bobbin.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So normally there's a knot between each length of yarn on the bobbin.
Yeah.
And you can, some people don't like that, but it's pretty easy to deal with. You can just take the knot, rip the knot out, and then you put the spit in your hand and you put the two ends together and then you just rub it. That's called spit felting.
Yeah.
You can just spit felt the ends together and knit them in. You won't even notice.
Yeah.
Or you can just weave the two ends together in your knitting.
Yeah.
So knots are part of Mule spun yarn, but it's important to remember that they are hand tied.
Yeah, that's like a lot of labor that goes into
by a valued person here at Custom Woolen Mills.
Who's paid a living wage.
Yeah, who's paid a living wage. Yeah.
Cool. I just wanted to have that little note not in there.
That little knot in there,
Because it's a funny thing, but I think it's really it's sort of indicative of our removal from the process where knitters get so irate about knots in skeins, and it's because we're so removed from the process that we don't understand. If you were to actually look at the staples of the fleeces that it's coming from, and then you get annoyed that in 400 yards you've got a few knots.
Well, because the other good thing about Mule spun yarn is it's so lofty and
it's super easy to splice if you really want to.
It's super easy to splice, but also I can see I don't know, maybe with a worsted yarn where the finish is really flat. It shows maybe a bit, I don't even know. I don't mind knots. It's you can just spit on it, slice it in. It's good to go.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I know you guys are super busy. So
well, thank you for coming.
Thank you. It's been great. And now I'm going to go to the wool shop and buy things.
Enjoy.
Cool. Thanks. Yep.
This is our
And it
really,
just slowly pulls it down.
yeah.
Machines engine.
So it's built like a music box or early computer technology
Yes.
with the cam. It's turning a heel right
So it's got, yeah, so it's doing its working flat.
now. Yeah.
So was it doing ribbing on the first part and then it turned to heel and now it goes stocking it?
Yeah.
That's amazing.